Japan makes me scared. Konbanwa minasan. Welcome back to another episode of Japan Makes Me Scared. I'm Junpei, your host, and I'm gonna share various horror and scary stories of Kaidan in this podcast. Have you heard of the last episode? If you haven't, please check it out before this one, because today I'm back with the next installment of the Yumeoni story that spread over several episodes, starting with the last one. For the lazy people, just a quick recap. And no, don't worry, I'm trying not to give a spoiler, but just to give an overview of it. So in the previous episode, we're following a group of 7 children, A, B, C, D, E, F, and Sho, the main character and our narrator of the story. Out of curiosity, they decided to have a go with this forbidden game called Yumeoni, which means dream demon in Japanese. A game that, at first glance, seemed rather exciting and harmless, but finally swallowed them into a real nightmare. At the end of the previous episode, Sho thought he had put an end to it all, but today's episode is starting right after that. By the way, it'll be quite a long one, like the last one. And just to tell you, this is not the end of the whole story as well. There'll be another part in the next episode. That's coming soon, hopefully. Anyway, let's move on to the storytelling part. Episode 49, Yumeoni, Part 2. I got him. I killed him. I won. A sense of victory was slowly welling up inside me. But that black thing wasn't dead. He stood up again, as if nothing had happened, and had his hand out towards me. But I stabbed him with the knife. Why? This isn't good at all. I'm gonna get caught. No, killed. While thinking that in my head, I closed my eyes and shielded my face with my arms. What? Nothing was happening. I opened my eyes again. That black thing, it was gone. Only the knife lay on the floor. What the? He just gone? I didn't understand at all. You know, he was there right in front of me. It had to be over for me, but why? My legs were still shaking. E. I suddenly remembered E. I kicked my legs to wake them up and struggled to my feet. I've got to find her. I promised to go back, so she must be worried sick. So I started running towards her as fast as I could. Hurry up. I entered the classroom and approached the container where E had been hiding. E, it's me. It's okay. I'm safe. I spoke quickly, still out of breath. He was chasing me, and I nearly got caught. But he just disappeared. Maybe because I stabbed him with a knife? In any case, he's gone. I moved a little closer. E, hey, are you listening to me? I still spoke towards the container where he had hidden. But she didn't answer at all. Did she not hear me? Hey, E, it's me, Sho. I tried to open the door of the container, but it wouldn't open. Someone was pulling from inside with all their might. No, don't come here. I could hear the voice of E. E, open up. It's just me, sure. Why are you locked in? I pulled harder. No, go away, don't come. Can't you hear me? I said it was me. Don't be ridiculous. I pulled the door with all my power. Then the container finally opened. No, don't come near me. Why not? It's me. Look, E, it's just me. I put my hand on her shoulder. Then I realized I woke up with a start. There I was, in the classroom where we were all sleeping. Everyone still seemed to be asleep. Did we wake up from that dream? And my clothes were soaked with sweat. My pillow too. Wet with tears. And my trousers? They were dry, luckily. Really? What time is it now? I glanced at my watch. It was about 6 in the morning. The day was beginning to dawn. To be sure, I pinched my cheek. Ouch. Thank God, I'm not dreaming anymore. Relieved, I let myself fall back to sleep. Come on, everyone, get up. It's morning. Did you sleep well? I woke up again to the teacher's voice. I looked up at her face. Then I could also see the faces of the other students and my friends. Ah, so everything was fine. We were well out of that dream. And back. I felt an enormous sense of relief wash over me. Come on, everyone, wash your faces to wake up. Then breakfast. And we'll meet in the gym. The teacher walked among us. Huh? Ichan? Hey, Ichan, wake up. The teacher approached E and shook her gently. But she didn't move, even though everyone else was already up. Mom, there's nothing we can do. Even though it was all just a dream, I was exhausted. It was as if I had really spent the night running. The teacher also continued, Never mind, let us sleep a little. Come on, everyone, tidy up your futons and go have breakfast. So we started tidying up our things. The photo. I almost forgot, but just remembered I left the photo under the pillow just before starting Yumeoni. So I took the photo from under my pillow to discover my name had disappeared. I'm sure I wrote it last night. You know, it was part of the ritual to start the game. Is it just me? To be sure, I checked the photos of other 5. By the way, he was still asleep. Their names had disappeared too. Hey, look, said Dee. The name has disappeared from my photo too. It was there before, wasn't it? Sure enough, our names had been erased. Why is that? And E? We put our photos back in our bags. After that, I went to wash my face, still half asleep. Then we had breakfast. The 6 of us, those who had done Yumeoni, well, again, he was still asleep though, we sat down together to eat. Little by little, we started talking about what had happened last night, about the Yumeoni. While we were eating, The conversation naturally drifted to what I had experienced during that dream. A said, laughing a little nervously, "Honestly, it was scary, but now I can say it was also fun, right? Even though I got caught right away." B also added, "Yeah, it was so realistic. It's crazy that we all had the same dream." C recounted, "I saw the black figure in the hallway. Then I got caught there. But I didn't meet anybody before that. Tried to talk to Sam though. Then I saw Show. I caught him, but he ran away and stopped me. Well, it was just a dream, so I didn't die or something." "What? Me?" "I saw C after I went out of the home economics room, but did not meet up with him face to face. And it wasn't him I stopped. It was the other one. That black thing. I started feeling something wrong." Then D added, "I also met A, B, Show, and E. But at one point, B abandoned me to save himself." B lowered his head. "I'm sorry, really. But it was just a dream, right? But when I thought you'd been caught by the black guy, you just disappeared. And then I got caught by him. After that, I found C. But for some reason, C ran away. When I caught up and touched C, I woke up. But C said, 'Huh? I never met you. The only ones I met were Show and the black guy.' And D added, 'I know the black guy disappeared, but I didn't. I was still there, and when I touched Beacon, I woke up.' And D continued, 'Wait, was there only just that black guy? Well, that's weird, right? Did F-chan meet anyone?' F replied, 'At first, I was in the first year classroom. Then when I left there, the black guy everyone was talking about was there. I was too scared to move. Then I thought I was caught, but the black guy disappeared. Then I heard a loud banging sound near the entrance. I thought someone was there, so I went to the entrance. But there was no one. There was only a fire extinguisher on the floor. So someone must have been there before, but... Wait a minute. It was me who was trying to break the windows with the fire extinguisher. Then E and I hid in the container where we could see the entrance. But it wasn't F who came to the entrance. It was the black guy." F continued, "Then I heard someone's voice. So I went towards that voice. Then I found Akon. He saw me, screamed, and ran away. So I chased after him, saying, 'It's me, it's F.' But he didn't answer. When Akon fell, then I touched him. Then I just woke up." "I didn't meet you, F. The first person I met was D, and then I met B." A said that, confused. Then continued, "After we met, we were captured by the black guy. But for some reason, we just disappeared. After that, I met B and D and Show and E. And oh yeah, all of you also ran away from me. I wondered why you were so scared of me. Anyway, I chased after you guys. Then B used D as a shield. And when I touched D, I woke up. Hearing that, I thought, yeah, we ran away. But I'm sure it was the black guy we saw. Everyone was contradicting each other. No one was telling the same story. Anyway, it seemed like my turn to explain. I met E, then we went to the entrance. We hid in a container where we saw the black guy for the first time. Then I joined B and D, and we were chased by that black guy. Later, when I was alone, I found a kitchen knife that could be used as a weapon. Then I rejoined with E in the classroom after that. But I heard the black guy approaching, so I left E behind and went to check the hallway alone. But the black guy spotted me there. While trying to escape, I managed to stab him with a knife at the corner, but it didn't work. I thought he had caught me, but the black guy also disappeared. So I decided to go back to the classroom where he was waiting. But C immediately protested. But it was me. After the black guy disappeared, I saw you. Then I caught you, but you just ran away. Then you stabbed me. F asked, worried. And then, what happened? So I told her, I found E hiding in the container in the classroom, but she looked so panicked. And that, when I touched her, I woke up. That's enough. Everyone's been saying different things. Are you all lying? D couldn't keep her mouth and irritatedly said that. No, I'm not lying. All I said was true. Everyone started getting mad, shouting that the other was lying. But I knew I wasn't lying, and it seemed like none of them were, apparently, because why would they? So why are memories so different? Wait. All we knew was clear was when someone got caught by the black guy disappeared from the scene. Then when they touched someone else, they woke up. It was the same for everyone. And after you got caught, no one could hear you anymore. Even if you got close, the other was running away from you. Does it mean when you get caught by the black guy, you become that thing yourself? After all, it was a game of talk, wasn't it? When a noni touches someone, they become the tugger. So, was each of us chasing the others without knowing we had become oni? It made sense. The black guy was oni. When he touched someone, they woke up and get back to the real world. Everything made sense. So, Dee had said that Oni had been there from the beginning, so there was a first Oni before us. I repeated everything I'd heard, and I began to piece things together. The first Oni was the one F had seen. No one else had seen it before. Then the order in which we became Oni was F, A, D, B, C, then me. And the last one was E, when I touched her. E was the last Oni, and she was still asleep. What does it mean by that? I rush over to E. Hey, E, wake up, wake up. I shook her with all my strength, but nothing. Not the slightest reaction. Everyone who had become a noni had woken up after touching someone. But not E. Because there was nobody else. Was she still stuck in that dream, playing Yumeoni all alone? Then I saw something sticking out from under her pillow. I pulled it out, and it was the photo we used for Yumeoni. On the back, a name was still written there. Our names had disappeared from the other photos, but not ours. Hey Sho, what are you doing? Why are you picking on her like that? The teacher appeared in the room. No, nothing, I stammered. She gave me a curious look, then shrugged. Let her sleep a little longer. You know, she must have been too excited last night. Come on, hurry up and go get your breakfast, and she will join later. But suddenly, the teacher stopped and grabbed my hand. My hand holding E's photo. The teacher took it and turned it over, and her face immediately got pale. She dragged me into the hallway and looked around to make sure no one was there, then stared at me. This photo is Ijun's, isn't it? You know what it is, don't you? Answer me. The teacher, usually so gentle, was furious. I'd never seen that expression on her face before. Well... Answer me, right now. Yes, it is, and I know what this photo is. But, Sensei, I never thought you would end like this. The teacher slapped me. Then, in tears, she hugged me. Without a word, she returned to the classroom. Everyone, stay here until I come back. Then she took me by the hand and led me down the corridor to the headmaster's office. I didn't quite understand what was going on. I just followed her. In the office, the teacher handed that photo to the headmaster. Headmaster, he played Yumeoni last night, and this is the proof. I still knew nothing, but I was already crying. The headmaster looked at the photo, and his face turned pale as well. But how could it be? It's not possible, is it? We made sure nothing happened after that. Then he continued, more coldly. Tell me everything. What you did, especially with Fim. Quickly. So I explained, as best I could, what had happened. There were 7 of us who did Yumeoni together, and he was the last Oni. The headmaster nodded and said to the teacher, gather the children involved and send the others home, and bring E here too. The teacher ran off immediately, and headmaster made a phone call. I didn't know what they had told the other students, but one thing was clear. They had been sent home without knowing anything about Yumeoni. A moment later, the teacher returned, carrying E on her back. Then A, B, C, D, and F arrived, looking lost. Hey, what's going on? B asked me. I couldn't answer, because I knew nothing. But a feeling that something terrible was happening. The teacher laid E on the sofa and said, all the other students have been sent home. I'm going to call their parents too. Very well, said headmaster, and he talked to us. Listen carefully. You did something terrible. I know you're all young, but you must understand that. And we have to leave here immediately. Then the headmaster gave his final instructions to the teachers. All teachers, except for the teacher in charge of these kids and the deputy headmaster, stay at the school. If the other parents call, you can just simply say that some student executed Yumeoni, and that's the reason why their children have been sent home. But one thing to make sure, never mention Yumeoni to your students. A little later, our teacher returned. I was able to contact their parents. They'll be here soon. Good, said headmaster. Let's go then. They divided us into 3 cars. A, B, and C going with the headmaster, and D and F going with the deputy headmaster, and E and I going with our teacher. She put E in the back seat and I sat in the front. The car started. Sensei, what's gonna happen to us? Is he gonna be okay? I asked. She replied, a voice breaking. I don't know. I'm sorry. I had to be there to keep an eye on you. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry I hit you. She was crying, so I didn't dare look at her. Then I turned to E. She was still asleep in the back seat. What if she never woke up? Was it my fault? Because I touched her? Is he still there alone in that dark school? The car drove on in silence for a while. Then it stopped. We were in front of a small temple in my neighborhood. I could recognize the place because it was a place my parents had always forbidden me to go near. And I know all the other children had been given the same instruction. We arrived, said the teacher. She carried E on her back, and we walked towards the temple. The other kids, accompanied by the headmaster and the deputy headmaster, followed us too. Everyone's faces were pale. Near the temple, a large rock, surrounded by a sacred rope, blocked the entrance. The headmaster stepped forward. I am P, headmaster of Y Primary School, and these are the children involved in Yumeoni. An old monk was waiting for us in front of the entrance. The monk silently nodded. He looked like he knew everything. I see. These children. Then he looked at E on the teacher's back. And this girl? Is she the one who was sacrificed? The teacher nodded. Yes, she seems to have become the last Oni. The monk sighed heavily. I never imagined that another child would play Yumeoni. Anyway, let's not stay outside. Then he guided us to enter the temple. Inside, he served us tea. But no one touched their cups. We were all silent, our eyes downcast. The headmaster turned to the monk. We'll wait for their parents outside. Good, replied the monk. I'm gonna tell them the truth, and until I'm finished, no one is to come in, not even the parents. The teacher then handed the photo to the monk. Then headmaster and the others took E away. When the door closed, the monk looked at us. Now then. He sat down facing us and began to talk. First, how'd you find out about Yumeoni? Who told you about it? Don't stay silent, or I won't know anything. I'm not gonna be mad, so please speak up. All lies down to D. With tears in her eyes, D began. It was me. I told everyone to play Yumeoni. I found this paper and photo. It in the book at the library. Then D handed the paper and photo to the monk. That was when the old man turned pale. Why is this here? The name on the photo, it's disappeared. It's impossible. Then he took out his phone and made a call. A few moments later, it's no good. I can't get through. Then he nervously dialed another number. Hey, it's me. Actually, the others who just did Yumeoni after you. And their names have also disappeared from the photos. Maybe she's already woken up? Before calling you, I tried the house, but no one answered. First, can you go to the hospital and see if she's awake? Then come here after, alright? Then he hung up. The monk took a deep breath, and the person I just called is the one who executed Yumeoni before you. Now he's going to see the last Oni from the last Yumeoni. So he'll be here soon. But first, I need to talk to you about the truth of Yumeoni. We listened, frozen. The monk continued. Yumeoni is just a nickname. The real name of the ritual is called Onifuji. A long time ago, an Oni lived in this region. He would come down to the village with his children and spread terror, and no one was a match for him. So the head monk of this temple created a special ritual, Onifuji, which means seal of the demon. So what did he do? He offered Oni a deal. So he said to him, face me in this ritual, and if you win, I will let you do whatever you want. Oni, confident in his strength, accepted this challenge. But of course, it was a trap. Only the monk and Oni took part in the ritual. And the monk told the villagers what they would do after the Onifuji started. You know, he had planned everything out already. He asked the villagers to kill him immediately after the sea was cast. So the monk sacrificed his life. Then the Oni could never be freed, because there would be no one left to touch and break the seal. After the villagers followed this instruction, the village also killed the little Onis because they're not the big threat to them. Then they locked the sleeping Oni in a chest and buried it under a large rock and sealed it. The rock you saw in the temple, that was where the Oni had been buried. It should have ended there, but that's not what happened. The Oni's name never disappeared. Normally, it should have disappeared when a person woke up in the real world or died in their sleep. But nothing happened. Means the Oni was still alive. Just thinking about it sent a chill. Then the villagers wanted to check if the Oni was still alive, but no one dared to dig him up, so they organized another Onifuji. This time, the village chief took charge. Before executing it, he wrote his name on a map with his address, and that way, if anything happened to him, the villagers would know immediately where to find him and what to do. Anyway, after the chief went into the dream, the name of the Oni disappeared. When I heard that, I exclaimed, "So the Oni woke up?" But the monk shook his head slowly. "Perhaps, yes, he woke up for a moment. But he never came out in the village again. Maybe he had slept too long and had become too weak to do anything. Even today, we don't know if he's still alive or dead. But one thing is certain. Under that rock, there is still the Oni." Then he paused for a while. "We haven't seen him for hundreds of years. So he should be dead, normally. At that time, there was no medical care like there is today. No IVS. So everyone knew if the village chief remained asleep, he would eventually die. So before it was too late, the villagers decided to take action. So what did they do? They performed Onifuji once again. Thanks to this, the village chief finally woke up and he recounted what he had seen. "It wasn't the Oni I saw. It was a thing as black as coal." We don't know why the Oni took that form eventually, but those who had acted Yumeoni, they all said the same thing. They had seen a black figure. Then he came to realize, even those who had been caught became black figures themselves. The monk continued. Their medical care advanced. It became possible to keep a person alive longer while they slept. So Onifuji was redone every few years around that time. And it was still active when I was younger. From then on, it began to be called Yumeoni. And we discovered that photos could also be used to play to determine the starting point. We all remained silent. Yumeoni. Its history went back centuries to see the Oni. And it was still there, under that rock. No wonder our parents forbade us to go near the temple. Anyway, the monk continued. But that wasn't enough. We all knew someone had to be sacrificed to end all of this. It means someone has to perform Yumeoni and then never wake up and die without leaving any other Oni behind in the dream. It was the only way to end it. He lowered his eyes. So a meeting was held to choose that victim. I was also there. And the chosen one, eventually, was my wife. She was only 42, and I was 45 at the time. She actually volunteered. And she said it was unfair to place this burden on the young. His voice trembled. Of course, I tried to stop her. I wanted to take her place. But it was impossible. Because at that point, we discovered there are certain rules for Yumeoni. For example, once a person has accomplished it, or if they have a strong blood connection to someone who has completed it, they can't perform Yumeoni. We guessed originally this must have been to prevent the Oni from awakening by his children. If a child of the Oni performs Yumeoni, they could raise the Oni. So the monk who created Onifuji had to kill this possibility. Then, even if he failed, the worst case scenario had to be prevented. Blood ties extend over 2 generations. Grandparents, parents, and grandchildren. And the thing is, my grandfather did Yumeoni, so my grandmother and my mother. My grandmother and my mother could do Yumeoni because they were from outside of this village. But my father and I were within that 2 generations restriction. We would have done it if there's no this rule. Anyway, my family is descendant from the monk who created Onifuji, so we had been expected to be more responsible as a prioritized candidate for Yumeoni. Maybe that's probably why my wife volunteered. He took a deep breath and kept on. And then there's time. When you're caught in Onifuji, time stands still, which means the night doesn't end until we wake up. It's originally to scare the Oni, to make him lose his bearings. At this point, I just realized it's not possible to do what I was thinking. I had made E the last Oni. If only I could play Yumeoni again. And as she touches me, and I become the last Oni in her place. But it was impossible. Because by the rule, once a person has accomplished Yumeoni, they can't perform it anymore. So there was no saving new. There was nothing we could do. And time. It remained frozen. So it means he's alone, still trapped in that dark school. At that moment, A, who hadn't said a word until then, burst out. Why did Yumeoni continue until now? There were centuries of time, but why didn't anyone sacrifice themselves before? If they did, there was no chance of us getting involved. He cried and shouted at the monk. He replied, You think we didn't think of that? We feel it too, every day. My wife, she should have been the last victim. A terrible silence fell over the room. The monk bowed his head. Before she died, she said to me, Live for me. We didn't have any children, so every day I went to the hospital. I stayed by her side and talked to her, even though she never woke up. And everyone in the village determined no one would ever perform Onifuji again. It's supposed to be over. But one day, an accident happened. My wife woke up. She was 72 years of age at the time. It seemed that someone had performed another Onifuji. It was the boy who I had called earlier, along with his friends. At the time, he was just a middle school student. He had heard rumors that this temple in a book about Onifuji, a book that recounted entire history, the names who performed Onifuji, how you do it, and the rules. One day, while I was away at the hospital, they had sneaked into the temple. Then they had read the book. And for fun, they had reproduced Onifuji as a test of courage. The monk closed his eyes. Then he added, in a heavy voice, and because of that, there was another victim. That girl, she was the one who had that photo. The monk showed us the photo that they had found in the library. Then he whispered, his voice broken. After that, everything became horrible. My wife, she had been sleeping for so long that she couldn't speak anymore. And 3 years later, she died, without us ever being able to exchange a single word in the end. But that wasn't the worst part. After the death of my wife, everyone told me I should have ended our life sooner, that it was my fault, that I should never have let those pigs exist. Humans are sometimes more cruel than you can imagine. They said terrible things without caring about what we went through, as long as they're fine. My wife was a wonderful wife. I loved her more than anything. And I wanted to respect her and protect her until the end of her life. He broke down in tears. We remained silent. We were crying too. The real victim could be this monk. Even a primary school kid like me could understand how heavy his burden had been. In his place, I think I would have wanted to leave this world. And yet, the monk was still there, trying to live. Maybe, thanks to his wife's last words, live for me. The monk wiped away his tears. I'm sorry, as I get older, I'm becoming more emotional. He continued softly. Anyway, after the sacrifice of the new girl, I immediately threw the book away, and the ritual was never performed again. The sacrifice of a young girl in middle school, that was reason enough. So we decided that she would be the last victim. Even if that person had to die without ever waking up, we would never perform Onifuji again. The silence grew heavy. Then he added, after that, no one spoke of Onifuji anymore. No one dared approach the temple. And we told children that Yumeoni were terrifying, so that you would never want to try it, that you must never talk about them. But you did. So our approach wasn't the best after all. Then he went into a complete pause. We were all silent, but now we understood the gravity of the situation. We did what was supposed to be ended and had produced another victim. He was becoming the last victim. No one would ever play Yumeoni again. First of all, his parents wouldn't be able to do that because their blood ties were too strong. And us, we had done it once already, so we'd never be able to do it. And everyone in the village, they want to end it as quickly as possible, so no one would do it again. Even if we begged someone to try Yumeoni again, no one would agree. And even if someone did try, it means it would be the beginning of another loop of nightmare. Imagine you would be stuck in that dream, alone, in the darkness, until death. No one wanted to live that hell. Agreeing to performing Yumeoni was like committing suicide. And everyone thinks it's just the fault of the one who did it after all. And now, it was up to the last Oni to pay the price. That's how it always ended. But one question still haunted me. What about those papers and photo that Dee found? Who left them there? Without them, we would never play Yumeoni. Then Nii would never have become the last Oni. There should be someone behind all of that. Just then, the door burst open. Oh, Shimai, thank you very much for listening to the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Honestly, this isn't just a horror story anymore. Are you feeling the same way? It's become a real drama, hasn't it? So, in the second part of Yumeoni, we now know the rule of the play and also the long dark history behind it. It turned out that Yumeoni was not a cursed children play, but it was more of a sacred ritual to see the Oni with huge sacrifice. Interesting part, to me, was the Oni who caused harm to the village a long time ago, and was the exact reason why the monk created this system to seal. It doesn't really matter in the current situation, does he? From very early on, the key point focused more on who becomes the last victim, and ended. And none of them was brave enough to do it, until the wife of the monk frontiered. Then it was supposed to be ended there, but a tragedy occurred since then. But we can't really blame anybody, can we? The dilemma in this drama makes me feel the indifference in human nature, or rather, a sense of helplessness. So, in that sense, this story gives me a different kind of fear than I felt before. And it's not over yet. In part 3, we find out how it all ends. And hopefully, it's coming very soon. And in the meantime, if you feel like discussing it, or sharing new ideas, you're welcome to join us on the Discord channel. I'm gonna leave the link in the description, so please join and enjoy the interaction if you would. Also, this podcast, Japan Makes Me Scared, is available on all popular podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or Amazon Music. So hit the like button on the app of your choice. Then it'll be a huge motivation for me, for sure. Alright, we're getting close to the end, so let me say one thing. Arigatou gozaimasu again for listening to my podcast, Japan Makes Me Scared, and sayonara for more children thrills next time. Bye!